I used to live on Halloran Street, in a town no one visits unless they're lost. It's the kind of place where the fog clings to the ground, and the streetlights buzz just a little too loud. The house I rented there was cheap, suspiciously cheap, but at the time, I didn't question it. I was desperate. I just left everything behind, a failed job, an ended relationship, and a city that didn't want me anymore. The house had 3 bedrooms, 2 of which I never used. One of them, though, was always locked. The landlord never mentioned it. He just handed me the keys, and when I asked what the third one was for, he smiled in a way that didn't reach his eyes and said, "You won't need to worry about that one." The first night was uneventful. I unpacked the essentials, made a bed on the floor, and fell asleep to the hum of cicadas. But around 3 a.m., I woke up to the sound of soft knocking. Not at the door. From inside the house. I sat up, heart thudding, and listened. 3 knocks, evenly spaced, then silence. I told myself it was the pipes, or maybe the house settling. Old houses do that. That's what I told myself. The next day, I found the door to that third room slightly ajar. Not wide open, just enough to let the darkness peer through. I hadn't opened it. I was sure. When I pushed it closed, it resisted slightly, like someone was holding the knob on the other side. But it closed. And I locked it again. Each night after that, the knocking returned. Sometimes closer, sometimes farther away. One night it came from behind the bathroom mirror. Another, from under the kitchen floor. Always 3 knocks. Always at 3 a.m. And every time I checked, nothing was there. Until the night I woke up and found the locked door wide open. The air that came out of that room was cold, heavy, and damp like a cave. I stood at the doorway for a long time, staring into the blackness, until I finally reached inside and flicked the light switch. Nothing. The bulb was dead, or maybe there wasn't one at all. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The room was completely empty. No furniture, no curtain, just old wallpaper peeling in long strips and a wooden floor warped with moisture. But the moment I stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind me. I whipped around and tried the knob. It turned freely, the door wasn't locked, but it wouldn't open. Like the frame had changed shape and trapped the door in place. That's when the light from my phone started to flicker. I tapped the screen, thinking it was the battery, but the battery was still at 80%. Then the light went out entirely. And I wasn't alone anymore. I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't see anything. But I knew something was in there with me. Breathing. Faint and slow, like someone asleep but aware of being watched. I backed against the wall, my own breath loud and shaky. Then I heard the knocking again. 3 knocks. But they were coming from the ceiling this time, directly above me. I screamed. I don't even remember deciding to scream. It just burst out of me. And as soon as I did, the door creaked open behind me. The hallway light spilled in, and the air warmed just a little. I ran. I didn't pack a bag. I didn't look back. I just ran. The landlord didn't answer when I called. His voicemail was full. So I drove back to the city, thinking I'd just abandon the lease and leave it all behind. But 3 nights later, the knocking came again, this time from the closet in my new apartment. I started sleeping with the light on. I bought salt, candles, charms. Nothing worked. The knocks changed locations, inside the fridge, under the bed, behind the toilet. Always at 3 a.m. Sometimes I'd wake up and find small things moved around, a glass turned upside down, the TV remote in the freezer. But worse than that were the photos. After a week, I found an envelope on my doorstep. No stamp. Just a single photo inside. A picture of me asleep, taken from inside my room. My door was shut. My windows locked. And yet, the picture existed. Then the next day, another. Me brushing my teeth. Me standing at the stove. Always at a distance, like the lens was hiding behind something. Then the last photo, me sitting on my bed, holding the envelope of photos. I called the police. They searched the place, found nothing. They checked the security footage from the building. But every night, from 2:59 to 3:01 a.m., the footage glitched and went black. Just for 2 minutes. Just long enough for the knocking to happen. I started sleeping at a friend's place. Then a motel. Then another friend's. The knocking followed me each time. Sometimes the knocks were louder. Sometimes they echoed inside my head. Once, I saw a shape in the mirror, tall, thin, with arms too long and a head that tilted unnaturally. It smiled with no teeth. I went back to Halloran Street. I didn't know why. Maybe I thought going back would stop it, like it only followed me because I ran. The house looked different this time. Smaller. Older. As if it had aged decades in a few weeks. I went straight to the room and opened the door. This time it opened easily. And the room was no longer empty. It had furniture, old, antique, covered in white sheets. The wallpaper was clean. The floor dry. At the far end was a mirror, not hanging, but standing upright, leaning slightly forward. I stepped in. I didn't even think about it. My feet moved on their own. The mirror didn't show my reflection. It showed a hallway. My hallway. In my new apartment. And something walking toward the camera. I turned around and tried to leave, but the door was gone. Just wallpaper where the door should be. I turned back to the mirror, and now the hallway in the reflection was dark. And something was standing at the end. Watching me. I screamed again. No sound came out. The thing moved closer. I stepped backward, but there was nowhere left to go. I fell to my knees, and the mirror shattered. When I opened my eyes, I was in my bed. It was morning. 8:12 a.m. The sun was shining. The knocking had stopped. But something had changed. The air felt thinner. The light outside felt a little too white. And the people, when I walked outside, the people stared a bit too long. No one blinked. One man followed me for 3 blocks, then turned around without a word. I think I'm still inside the room. I think the house let me think I escaped. But it's watching me. Every mirror shows me from a second ago. I see myself blink in reverse. My reflection smiles even when I don't. There's no knocking now. Not since I stopped running. Now, I wake up every night at 3 a.m., not to a knock, but to a voice. It whispers one word. Soon. The voice didn't sound human. It was deep and layered, like multiple people whispering at once, echoing just slightly behind itself. I tried recording it, but every playback was silent. No sound at all, not even the ambient room noise. And then I stopped seeing myself in mirrors altogether. Instead, each time I looked into a reflective surface, I saw a different version of myself. Older. Younger. Injured. Crying. Dead. Sometimes I'd look in and the reflection would smile, slowly raise a finger, and tap the glass 3 times. No sound. Just a slow, mocking knock. I visited a therapist. They listened kindly until I mentioned Halloran Street. Their expression changed. They didn't interrupt, but they started glancing at the clock. When I finished, they said, "You should leave it alone. Some places don't forget." That night, my phone rang at 3 a.m. I let it go to voicemail. The message was static for the first few seconds, then came the voice. "Come back. Finish it." The next morning, I found another photo slid under my door. Me, sleeping again, only this time, someone else was in the room. A blur. Something tall, with an elongated shadow stretching up the wall. I went back to Halloran again. This time, I wasn't alone. I brought a priest with me. A real one. He was skeptical until he stepped into the hallway. That's when the lights flickered, and the smell hit us, mildew, earth, and something coppery underneath. Like rotten blood. He tried a blessing, but halfway through, his voice caught in his throat. His hands shook. Then he turned to me and said, "It's not a ghost." "What is it?" I asked. He didn't answer. He just walked out of the house, fast. Didn't look back. Left the door open. That night, the voice whispered something new. "Don't bring others." I tried. I really did. I left the house, stayed in hotels. I even moved states. But the thing didn't stay behind. It followed. Not the same as before, not just knocking. Now, it mimicked people. My mom called. I picked up. But it wasn't her. It knew things only I knew, and it laughed when I started crying. My reflection now acts completely independently. It walks away sometimes. Leaves the frame. Comes back with different clothes. Once, it was covered in blood. And then there was the night I didn't wake up alone. I turned over and saw myself. Not a mirror. Me. Lying next to me. Eyes open. Staring. Breathing in perfect sync. I blinked. It didn't. I screamed. It smiled. That morning, the doppelganger was gone. But the sheets were damp where it had been. I don't think it wants to kill me. That would be simple. I think it wants to wear me. Lately, I've been forgetting things. Blackouts. Hours at a time. People say they've seen me places I've never been. I found receipts in my wallet from towns I've never visited. Then I got an email. From my own address. Let me in. No body text. Just the subject line. I started recording everything. Cameras in every room. Motion sensors. Alarms. None of it caught anything. The footage skips, always during 3 a.m., then resumes like nothing happened. But I wake up with scratches. Bruises. Once, a bite mark. Then the dream started. Always the same. I'm back in the room on Halloran Street. Only now, there's no door. Just mirrors. Thousands of them. And every one shows me doing something different, hurting people. Screaming. Laughing. Dying. I saw myself set fire to the house. I woke up to the smell of smoke. There was no fire. I've stopped sleeping altogether. I see it more now, in the corner of my eye. Watching. Sometimes behind glass, sometimes in the windows. My voice has started echoing when I talk, even outside. People stare. No one sits next to me on buses. Animals cross the street to avoid me. I'm writing this down so someone knows. In case it takes me. In case it wears me. If I start acting strange, if you see me and I seem off, it's not me. It never stopped knocking. It was just waiting for me to answer. And I did. Now it's inside. And soon, it'll come for you.